Good morning, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be all over the world. I'm your host, Mad Max, and this is another episode of Mental Madness. That's right, folks. It's crazy shit out there. I'm here to give you a little bit of knowledge about what I think is going on and the things that I think are happening, why they're happening, and how to prepare yourself and your family for them. Like I said, I worked for the military, the government, for 8 years. And I've seen some and done some things that people shouldn't have to do, whether they were right or wrong, or whether I had orders or not. You know, it's just a matter of seeing the world for what it really was. And seeing the world for what it really was something that kind of nobody really has experienced until you go outside of the United States and into a world like that. But I won't even get into none of that because I can sit here and give you a sob story about it all, or I can tell you about why it's going on, who's making it happen, and why these things are happening. Today's subject is going to be about what I like to call, or many others like to call, psychological warfare. As you all know, I have said that we are in an information warfare. I think we're in multiple warfares right now. I would consider an information warfare and a psychological warfare to be somewhat the same. But in the difference that psychological warfare is driven by mental stimulation of an individual's ideology, and information warfare is just having information or not having information. So a psychological warfare is what you do with the information. So in that sense, I'll say that the government is very aware, very consciously aware of a lot of things that the civil population is not. They have technologies that allow them to predict things, and they have supercomputers that allow them to pretty much spy on anybody they want, record anything they want, do whatever they want. Because, like I said, there's an information warfare going on right now. Our Congress allows it to happen. Our people allow it to happen. They allow this information to be bought and sold by private organizations, private sectors. And the people are just hanging out to dry, having no clue what is actually going on. To say that none the least that most of us are not aware of what's going on. Some of us are becoming aware, and until you experience an event in your life that makes you look up and say, well, maybe there is a God. Maybe everything that is going on, there has to be some real purpose to what's going on. And I'm not a real religious freak. I actually frown upon people who push their religious ideologies on other people. But I do believe in a creator, or a creative source of some sort. Something better than, or more intelligent than ourselves. Something that's been alive longer than human beings. I'm not saying that, and even it can go deeper into the metaphysical aspect of it as well, but I'm not going to get into that. Today is about the psychological warfare. Certain people in our federal government and in our civilian banking corporations and private security sectors, they are working in cahoots with each other to keep this information suppressed from the people, the information of extraterrestrial contact, the information of all their dirty little black ops wars that is going on right now, to control resources and finances all over the world, and to pretty much bring together the entire world under what's called the New World Order. And it's already being done right now. The UN is just the first step, and it was the first step. Obamacare is the federalization of healthcare as a whole, which is bad. We don't want the government telling us how to have healthcare. Private sectors should have regulations on them, yes, but only to the extent that it's not screwing anybody over. Not to the extent that the government now controls all of healthcare. And I'm totally against government healthcare. I believe healthcare should be affordable if not free for everybody. I mean, we got to think about what the priorities of life really is. It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You need to pay for those things. The pursuit of happiness. Once you achieve happiness, it doesn't mean that you overreach your boundary. And most of us do. I mean, we want more and more and more and more, and we're not happy enough, and so this life's ours, and I do what I want because it's me. But when you see the overall picture, that we did every single one of us came from a tiny speck of energy, and that the universe existed as what we consider to be the Big Bang to make the universe up today. That we all existed as a tiny dot of energy. We all come from the same source of energy. And that says a lot. To me, it says a lot. It says that, we come from one energetic source, a singularity, a single source of energy. Whether that source has multiple points of energetic stations or whatever, I don't know. Could be living in a giant computer thing, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that the government knows a lot more than you do. And they really do not want you to find this stuff out. They don't want you to be empowered. They don't want you to go off planet and see other ETs, because then you won't want to be here. And they won't have control over you. And they won't have you trapped. They don't want you to explore the stars. They want to be the ones to do that. And keep it to themselves. And, I'm all about the government being cautious about how we travel through the stars and where we travel and who we interact with. I'm all about securing our safety. But at the same time, it feels like the government suppresses certain information from the people so that the people are not empowered with the same information they have. They feel that information is high value. For what reason? Why? And why do the American people not get access to this information? Why do they not get access to the things? Because of this psychological warfare. People with information who have power typically like to crowd that power, to hoard that power. It's like a treasure chest. We hoard gold, for instance. We hoard money. We also hoard secrets. And like I said, knowledge is power. And right now, our government and many other agencies all over the world are working in cahoots with each other to suppress the idea that you get a fair paycheck, to suppress the idea that you educate your children yourself, or choose who and what your children want to learn. And, parents have no educational influence over their children anymore, other than they can help them with their homework. They don't set the guidelines, they don't set the standards for their children, they send them off to school, and they're too busy worrying about their own personal and, job security and all that. It's very hard for a parent to teach their children anything anymore these days. They're too busy. And the problem with that is that we are literally slaves, economic slaves. And I say that to the fact that it's even as bad as the slavery that happened in the beginning of the United States slavery era. It's worse than that. Not only are blacks being enslaved, still to this day, but now whites, Hispanics, nobody is spared from this slavery. It is a class warfare, a psychological warfare of people who think they're better than you and decide that they get to make the choices in life for you instead of you getting to make your own choices in life for you. And the government has ways, and like I said, I am for a very small, very honest, very open government. But I am not for a very large, very secretive, very sneaky, sniveling, fucking rat-infested, fucking disease-infested, fuckface, excuse my language, these guys, man, they piss me off. Anyways, if you only knew, guys, if you only knew, folks, and it's not just my country. If you're watching somewhere else in the world right now, it's your country too. There's corruption everywhere. And it spreads like a disease, a virus. And it's something that people need to pay attention to on a daily basis. If someone at work is a boss at work using their power to control your life, to control your emotions, is your life free? Do you get to wake up and spend as much time as you want to get ready to go to work? Or do you have to be at work when somebody tells you to be at work? You know, we live in this high-paced, high-thinking society. We never slow our thinking down or slow down the pace of being human. And that's what life's about, being human. We're not being human, we're being android, slave working robots. And I know that it sounds lunatic fringe and it sounds conspiracy theorist, but it's not, folks. It's totally not. You need to wake up to the idea that stuff is really bad. And I don't know who's in charge and who's running it, or whether anyone's actually running it at all. Maybe it's just a bunch of stupid, evil, dumb fucks really just not getting it. But I don't think that's the case, because I've worked for the government and I've seen how compartmentalized they are, how much information is compartmentalized into certain people in certain areas. And they use these secret programs to spy on you, to spy on foreign governments. They use these drones to fly over our heads and secure our safety. Quote unquote secure. Not spy on us, but secure our safety. Get the fuck out of here. If I want a drone, I'll make my drone myself and put it above my house. I can't afford a drone because the government keeps it well regulated. The private companies keep it well regulated because money, everything is overpriced. And it's all about money, folks. It's all about control, power, and wealth. And women. And lust. And these are clear, telltale signs of the devil, if you would so put it that way. I wouldn't consider it the devil. I would consider it just negative energy. The thing that makes us do bad shit and not care. And that's the thing that you need to do yourself to control that. I'm not saying you need to be a pussy. I'm not saying you need to change your life completely. I'm saying that you need to use the brain that the Creator gifted you with. Because whether we were stupid at one point and now we're smart now, obviously that was the grand design. As I've said before, our brain observes and sees things 5 seconds before we actually perceive it. For instance, if you look at something, your brain's seen it 5 seconds before you looked at it. And this is scientifically proven. But to say that means that we are actually living in the past. That our brain is living in the future. But we experienced the past. So why the delay? Why are we dumbed down? Why are they feeding us with excuse my language, sorry. Why are they feeding us with poison water? Fluoride in your water, fluoride in your toothpaste, vaccines that are killing you and your children. Some of them do help in certain situations. Sometimes you need to get a shot. If it's deadly, if people are dying left and right, then maybe it's okay to get a vaccine to save your life. But year by year, get your children 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots that are just destroying their growth production. They're hiding the fact that you're getting bombarded by, I would say, 1,000% more radiation levels than normal. Pretty much all over the United States. Getting spikes of readings of crazy amounts of radiation. We're finding it mutated in with our DNA. These are the things that we don't need to infect the purity of human beings, because we've already infected it enough as it is. We need to use technology for the right fucking reason. Not to destroy each other, not to fucking build a mansion for somebody to live on top of a mountain and be king, but to reach for the stars so that every man, woman, and child on this planet, every being on this planet, has a decent chance of survival. When I say every being, I'm talking animals too. I mean, if an animal's an endangered species, don't fucking shoot it. Period. But, you know, life is special and it's unique to its location. I do believe that. And that life here on planet Earth is unique. It's very unique compared to life somewhere else on another planet. It could be slightly different. So we need to take into that we are a pearl of life that needs to be preserved and not destroyed. And we have this destructive mentality, what I call mental madness. This is why I call my podcast Mental Madness. We have this destructive, and we've seen this throughout history. The Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Chinese, the Egyptians, they all fall. Every empire falls because they reach a state of what I call the mental madness stage, where they become prominent, they become powerful, they let their minds start swirling, and they forget about the things that are important. Because when you have too much fucking time on your hands, and only the rich people have too much time on their hands, because everybody else is slaving for the rich people. Folks, it is a psychological warfare. When someone uses information that you don't have against you, that is a psychological warfare. When someone does not give you information that they have that could better benefit you and your life, that is a psychological warfare. And not to the extent that, hey, I know how to mow my grass better than you. What's your secret in your cooking? You know, I'm not talking about that shit. I'm talking about when it comes to matters of our country, and matters of the universe, and matters of understanding and knowledge, and wisdom and teachings, and education, and a free society all over the planet, with free thinking and free religious ideologies. When the planet comes together as a whole, and that type of new world order, I'm all for. Peace on Earth. It sounds crazy, but it's so fucking achievable. The problem is, you're never going to rid evil. You always have to sense it and scout it out and get rid of it before it gets its root firmly in the foundation. You know, it's like a weed. You see it, you cut it before it gets too big. It starts sucking up all the water from all the other plants around it. So, I'm saying, folks, that the evil is sucking up all your fucking water. And they've been sucking up all your fucking water. And they're going to keep sucking your fucking water up. Until you take a blowtorch or a flamethrower to that motherfucker. And burn it the fuck down. Throw them in the lake of fire. I'm not saying literally burn things down, folks. Please don't do that. What I am saying is destroy this mentality, this mental madness ideology that's going on. And it's not even an ideology that's people are aware of. They're not even aware that they're mentally mad right now. They're not even aware what they're feeding their children. They're not even aware what their children are being taught to them. They're not even aware why they're not making decent money, working very hard. They're not even aware why their car never works. They're not even aware why they're sick all the time. They're not even aware why they have 3 kids with 3 different baby daddies. They're not Father, forgive them. This is what Jesus says. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. You know, and like I said, I'm not a religious person. But that quote really makes me think about shit in a different aspect. You know, a lot of times I catch myself not knowing what I'm doing. I'll be like, oh man, I'm doing that. Wow, I shouldn't do that. So I need to be more I need more self-control in myself. And that's the hardest part for anyone out there in the universe. And the universe is so demanding. You need to eat, you need to sleep, you need to fuck, there's a lot of things that human beings need. And there may be other beings that need other things as well. But as far as we are concerned, the things that we need are the things that we need. The things we don't need are the things, you know, like what we don't need is spending our money on NFL. What we don't need is spending our money on methamphetamines. What we don't need is watching day-by-day television of mind-warping bullshit. What we don't need is send our kids to a prison education camp. What we don't need is to be asleep any fucking more. We need to wake up. If thine eye be single, thy body shall be full of light. And right now, everybody's looking with two eyes, not the one that they need to be looking with. They're looking with these two physical eyes. They need to use that metaphysical eye to look. To actually see what the fuck is going on. And realize the bubble, the paradox that they're in right now. Because life can be so much more than it is right now, folks. And it will be. We will get through this. I believe the good will always fucking prevail. At a certain level, the negativity just gets filtered out. On an energetic level, on a physical and metaphysical level, and a spiritual level as well, if you want to call it that. But what I am saying, folks, is that I'm battling with these questions myself on a daily basis. You know, I experienced a lot of things around the world that opened me up to different ideologies, to different ways of thinking, to different understandings and teachings and wisdom. You know, everyone here is to teach. Everyone is here to teach and learn. Nobody's here to do either or. They're here to do both. Teach and learn. Because that's the whole purpose of life, to experience life with other self and to learn about why we're here and what's going on. You know, the Christians would call this moment the revelation moment. The moment that the truth of the truth of the universe and the truth of mankind is revealed to us. And I believe that that moment's coming soon upon us, if not already here or passing. I think that a lot of us recently, metaphysically and spiritually, have discovered monumentous amount of evidence to suggest the things that I'm saying are true. And I'm not getting this information myself. Some of this I do get information through meditation and my own research and teachings. But most of this I've researched on my own and found myself. I'm not telling you anything that's not, that you know, as far as the government goes, I'm not telling you anything that's not documented, that's not proven. It's not had whistleblowers, high-level officials from federal government who have whistleblown on this stuff. You know, I don't want people to live, I don't want people to suffer anymore, physically. I don't want people to mentally suffer anymore. I want life to be okay. At least okay. Good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be great. But life can be good. And the people who want to fuck with you and want to kill you and murder you and rape you, there's a place for those people. But we don't kill because we don't judge. We exile. We banish. These are the things that, there's nothing worse, because you're an eternal being, supposedly. And the Bible specifically says that hell is a place of exile, a place of banning, a banishment, that we are currently living in right now. We are exiled out of heaven, or the kingdom of heaven, or the Creator's many other houses that he has out there, meaning the different universes that exist out there. Because I do believe there's a multiverse theory, where we live in multi-universes within each other, and who knows how deep the rabbit hole gets as far as dimensionally, string theory and all that. But I will say, guys, I'm excited about a lot of the information that's coming in. I'm excited about learning this stuff. I'm excited about teaching it. I'm excited about spreading the word of just knowledge, not through any religion-based organization, not through, just through common sense, logic, and, I created my daughter. So in the beginning, somebody had to have created us, whether we were created by extraterrestrials, gods, ETs, one god, many gods, I'm not sure. But I know the science says that there was one singularity, which was the universe before it became the universe today. And a singularity is one. Math is the universal science. Math is the universal language. 1 + 1 = 2 anywhere in the universe. So with that understanding, you have to understand that there is a system, and we are learning about the system. We are learning that we actually are not in the most perfect place in the universe, that this is not the greatest place to live, that this density is not the greatest density to exist in, and that there could very well be extraterrestrial beings who live on other planets or in space, who are much more intelligent, whose civilizations have lived more than our 2 million year time span. We're talking imagine a civilization that's lived for billions of years instead of just our 2 million years. We've lived for 2 million years. Look at where we're at. Imagine a species who's lived for billions of years. Billions, if not hundreds of millions. Still much longer in comparison to us. So are we growing fast? Yes, I believe we are a superbly created race, in the sense that we are definitely coming out of this coma that we're in. Waking up, it's like we're evolving in the next step. Like from when we turn from apes to humans, or to to Homo sapien. When we became less hairy and more intelligent. That's happening right now in history. Is unfolding right now, folks. People are waking up. Science is getting ridiculously good. Our species is growing and adapting on a level that we could have never imagined. And we need to preserve our species, because it may be special. We may be very unique species. Whether we were created as clones or not, from an extraterrestrial race that was much higher advanced than we are, oh well, we're on our own now. If we got to accept that, then we have to deal with the facts, and we have to do what we can and become something great. We don't got no superpowers. We don't got no mind teleportation, telekinesis powers. We don't live super long. But what we do got is a lot of spirit. What we do got is the ability to adapt and overcome. And yes, some of us may die, but I promise you the ones who don't will ensure that the ones died are honored and avenged. And the problem would now become a solution. And that's what human beings need to do. Become the solution, not becoming the problem, which we are the problem. The mental madness is kicked in, folks. The mental madness is kicking out on a daily basis. People are shooting up schools. People are robbing, killing, stealing. We are in hell. We are in exile. We are in banishment. There are beautiful things allowed here. Good things are allowed here. But so is really negative, evil things in this density. But you can't even begin to fathom some of the density levels of evil beings that could exist. Fourth, fifth, sixth density beings that could be monstrous and really evil fucking beings that we know, the government knows exists. If there are evil people on our planet, you best believe there are evil people out there in the universe if there's life out there. And if those beings are 10 times more intelligent than me, and if those beings have 10 times better the capability than I do, I'm no match for them. And they can do what they want with us. And that's the cold, honest truth. So if our government comes in contact with these beings and is threatened by them, they would be forced to follow any orders that they would be given. And they might not tell the people about it as well, because it might actually be told to them to not tell the people, because that's what they would not need. An ET race does not need the whole planet knowing that they're here, taking them over, controlling their thoughts and controlling their ideologies and their religious views, and controlling the planet, literally. But some believe there's what's called the Council of Saturn, which is an extraterrestrial military base like the UN kind of on the planet Earth, where all the countries come together, except for this is a place where all the ETs come together from different areas of the galaxy, specifically our galaxy. And supposedly they come together and communicate with each other. And I'm not saying that these things are real. I'm saying this is a logical explanation of things to come. If they were to be real, we would form some sort of council with our galactic neighbors. This just sounds logical. And, you know, so I think, and that this Council of Saturn is there to protect us from those types of beings. From the constellation Centaur, I think. But I won't even get into that. The Anunnaki could have also been negative, very negative entities, beings. The Bible calls them the Watchers or fallen angels, because they used to live in a really great universe, in a really great dense, or not in a really great universe, in a really great galaxy with really great access to energy and technology and wisdom and knowledge. You know, our galaxy had no living creatures into it until about, what, 12? I can't remember the exact birth of the galaxy, but we're a fairly young galaxy. We're going to smash into Andromeda and become a super galaxy. Everything that we know will die and perish during this event. But as a result, we have a super galaxy which is like twice the size, and life will be twice as better. So I'm saying that, you know, life is just happening all over the universe on a level that you can't even begin to understand. But right now, where you're living here and now, information can only come to you through way of extraterrestrial communication. For instance, or asteroid or comet. For instance, if, say, planet Zimbabwe, right? I'm just making that up. How about planet X? We'll call it planet X. In the galaxy Andromeda, right? It's floating towards. If their sun is about to go supernova, which most solar systems eventually do go supernova, and they got no place to go, their planet's about to get destroyed, they have to get off planet. And that's why human beings, our space age technology is trying to get us onto Mars, because we want to terraform that planet, to be an escape for us if our planet was ever be destroyed, which is a great idea. Don't get me wrong. That's what we should be doing. Terraforming rocky, barren planets that have no life. Because otherwise you're infringing upon the free will of others. Intelligent life, that is. But you have to understand that, we are not the only beings in the universe. The evil has a much bigger level, much bigger scale, and that we are being currently what's called quarantined from this evil, protected from this evil, until we're intelligent enough to defend ourselves from this evil. And right now we're not. Which is probably why the people of America and the people of planet Earth don't know what's going on. Because some of this information could be very hurtful to them. It might make people think irrationally. And, I understand that. But at the same time, you have to realize that if you look at the Bible and all the holy scriptures of all the different religious aspects, this was literally an extraterrestrial warfare going on. Where Anunnaki came to this planet, okay? Fallen angels is what the religious Christians would call them, or the Watchers. And they saw the women of the land, and they literally mated with them. They had sex with the women of Earth. And this was in the Bible, and in many other scriptures as well. These creatures who were created before God. In the Bible it also says in the Genesis, it says that the Watchers were to bow before Adam. Even though they hated the fact that they had to bow to a man who was created after, they were created before man was. So they felt superior to man. But yet they had to bow to God's creation of man. So I see this as an influence of ideologies in the extraterrestrial community. There may have been differences of opinions about whether they should harvest us, meaning they should consume our planet and take us and destroy us, or let us live here and continue to allow us to be here. Because during the Great Flood of Noah, somehow Noah got information that they were going to destroy this planet. That literally the planet was going to be destroyed. But he got that information through telegraphic communication. However that information got to him, he was informed. Information. He was informed. That was it. He had a communicational talk, a discussion with some other self, about a massive flood that was coming, that was an intentional flood caused by extraterrestrial influence, meaning they wanted to destroy mankind completely, destroy us all. Someone within their own organization went rogue on them, I believe, went rogue on their own group and informed Noah and said, hey, our people are fixing to fucking destroy all of you. Here's your shot to survive. It may have costed them a huge warfare as well. And I'm not even going to get into replacing the Bible with ET contact, because I think they're one and the same. Really, I do. I think that the Bible and the Quran and all these religious scriptures really explain in a super spiritual way what real things happened back then. And they couldn't explain them well because they couldn't begin to understand what exactly was going on. They knew these beings were gods. They could fly into outer space. They could mine. They needed the gold on this planet specifically to power their ships. Because gold is a huge superconductor. Great for electronic properties. Folks, you just don't know. You just don't know. And I wish I could sit here and tell you about it all. And I would love to tell you that, this information has been suppressed from you on purpose because of the psychological warfare that's going on. Most people know, without a shadow of a doubt, that what we were dealing with was extraterrestrial beings during the times of Jesus. And Jesus may have very well been a hybrid being. Okay? The very soul of an extraterrestrial being. inside of a human body. Well, half human, half extraterrestrial, you would call it. A fourth, maybe fourth, even fifth. The law of one says that Jesus was a fifth density being. So if he was a fifth density, if a human being mixed with a fifth density being, I can't even begin to tell you the type of being that person would be. To be honest, would be, you could see why Jesus did some of the things that he did, obviously. So we have to think about the Bible and the religious scriptures and text in a more logical explanation. There were ETs flying around. Planet Earth was a gem for the taking. But the indigenous population of human beings who lived here, this was our planet. Okay, it was given to us. This is our gem. And when the Anunnaki got here and tried to take it literally for themselves and harvest the whole planet of all of its resources and enslave us, our life was under a very short string. I mean, we literally were dangling by a thread. 2,000 people were left in the world after the flood of Noah. 2,000 people scattered all over the lands. How long it must have took us to recover from a massive flood like that, and how Noah got that information and how he got all the animals to survive, I do believe was through genetic storing DNA of each animal and insect, much like we store DNA ourselves now. I mean, and stored it in a vessel, and that's the only way I could see him fitting all of those creatures and animals and plants and stuff all in that boat. So if you can do it genetically, then I could see where if an extraterrestrial group gives you the capabilities of genetically modifying these beings back into existence, you see what I'm saying? And then therefore they come back, and that it's, you know, because what is DNA? It's information, and life is information. That's all it is. Life is information. Blood is information, and that information can never be lost through the Einstein, you know. The black holes pretty much say, well, I guess there is a saying in science that information cannot be lost, even in a black hole. So with that being said, I'm going to say that most of the stuff that I'd really like to talk about is the corruption of the government, and is what reality is about. And these are real things I believe were happening on a monumental level, on a scale that people haven't even begun to understand yet. People need to wake up. You know, how we interpret things that have happened in the past, you know, is up to ourselves. We have our own opinions about what things happened in the past. But, you know, if you've seen something you couldn't understand, you would describe it the best way you could. And I believe that is what some of the scriptures that we have now religiously worshipped and controlled people through over time. You know, and you have to understand that when first contact comes again, and it will, ETs will show back up. When the quarantine is lifted, we're all on our own. We won't be on our own. We'll have friends still, but life's going to be a lot different. It's not going to be the same, and we will be susceptible to outside evil influences on a level you can't begin to understand. But if we can learn to protect ourselves and keep us safe from those places and those beings, then we won't even have to come anywhere in contact with them. And we can have an army of good beings protecting each other. And that's what we need to be doing as a galaxy, as a planet. We're not even through bringing our planet together. We're still killing each other. We're still fucking... It's terrible. If people only knew. You know, and the things that I say, I do honestly feel were actual things that happened during the biblical times. That Mary was was literally artificially inseminated through means of extraterrestrial contact to give birth to Jesus, and that Jesus was a hybrid being of that of a higher density group being from a different area of the universe. Whether it be in our same galaxy or not, I'm not sure. And that these beings were really trying to influence and control and maintain mankind's ideologies and influences and suppress them. But Jesus was sent to, literally save us from them. And say, hey, I'm part of them. I know who they are. I know what they're up to. I see right through them. So it was a very secretive thing that was going on. And this was a lot more than just, this was blood and tears and warfare. This was like the soap opera fucking megastars right here, man. If you could have went back in time and watched all this shit unfold, and I can't say that I have, but I kind of envision these things myself. I try to. I try to take information and make sense of it. And that's what people need to do. And I could be wrong about things, and I'm totally willing to accept that. But I do honestly believe during the biblical times we were invaded by extraterrestrials. We are being quarantined, or what you would call protected, from extraterrestrial contact, which is why we don't have many visits. It's because someone's watching our planet for us, literally, making sure that we're not getting bombarded by these fucks. Because we could be, and we're not. So, as soon as we started sending off that first electrical signal, those beings can pick up on that shit. They pick up on our signals all the way. It don't matter where they're at. If they have good enough technology, they'll pick up on signals. And we've been sending out signals since we created electricity. And they know we're here. And I'm sure that they knew we were here way before then, because we've had, and that's another thing I'm going to get into. The government has been suppressing the idea that many civilizations have existed on this planet who have been far superior to our own existence, meaning the technology we have, the things that we have, the things that we know, the science that we have is nothing compared to some of the civilizations that existed on this planet before. I'm talking about people who can build pyramids up 10,000 feet tall. A 10,000 foot pyramid, the Tower of Babylon. How the fuck does mankind build a 10,000 foot pyramid? You tell me that. That's as tall as one of our mountains. That's as tall as a volcano mountain. That's huge. How does mankind build a 10,000 foot pyramid with really good technology? And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, whether it was the same type of technology that we use or not is a whole different subject. But there was some sort of technology that many civilizations have had before us that has allowed them to communicate in the stars and understand the stars. They didn't have telescopes. All metal decays after about 1,000 years. Most metal does decay after about 1,000 years of decomposition. So any evidence that an ancient civilization existed might have been washed away during the flood, for sure. Or just decomposed away after thousands of years, that it took mankind to rebuild itself. Thousands, literally. There's no evidence of these things. There's only stories. There's only little hints of Atlantis, this ancient civilization who literally had so much technology you wouldn't even begin to understand it, folks. We are recovering from ancient civilizations that have crumbled. And it began with the Sumerians, and something very terribly bad happened to them, and they talk about the flood of Noah, then it began, and then the Egyptians, and now we're in current present life right now. And we have to ask ourselves, have we been visited before by extraterrestrials? Are these extraterrestrials really the beings that the Bible speaks of? because they have more information than us. They may understand the Creator better than us. And knowing the Creator better may empower them more. So I'm saying that people need to wake up and realize that life is not just this 9-to-5 slave life. That you are being dumbed down. You are on a daily basis being attacked by what's called a psychological warfare and an information warfare. And you really need to understand that if mankind has any hope for the future, and the people who are doing this know everything I'm telling you, and it is also a spiritual warfare going on. Evil people don't want to give up their things. They don't want to give up their ways. They want their shit. And in the end, they're not going to be able to get what they want. Because once people realize that the universe is a really wonderful and special place, and that they have access to these places, and that the kingdom of heaven is not just planet Earth, and that heaven has many rooms, that there are many different types of life out there, and that you need to be aware of them and be cautiously aware of how you educate yourself and your children about these things. Because this information is being held from you on purpose by our government, by the Roman Catholics, by the Pope. Disinformation would change history as we know it. And does it take away angels and demons? No. That was just our way of explaining these beings. You know, angels could very well have been fourth or fifth dimensional beings from a planet who has much more intelligence and much more understandings of the universe. I'm not fucking stupid, folks, and you shouldn't be either. The mental madness is kicking in. Are you going to let it take you over, or are you going to take it over? Are you just going to blindly not know, or are you going to willingly try to learn something and understand who and what you are and what the fuck is going on with your life, with your existence, with your consciousness, with your children's consciousness and their existence in life? You need to care about them, and you need to care about other people. You need to do the right thing. And you need to discipline your children because you care about your children. You need to discipline yourself because you care about yourself. Are we all going to be perfect? No. It's the distortion fields we create from imperfectness that really causes us the problems. And jealousy and things like these emotions that human beings really empower and have, of love, jealousy, hatred, anger. We can express these emotions in probably the most loudest, most obnoxious way in the world. But there's also some tender, loving heart to us. And some of us have lost it. A lot of us have been mind warped and brainwashed to not have a heart, or to use the other side of their brain, or to do slow thinking, or to learn the truth. I would suggest that people take time to do the research themselves and think about this stuff themselves, you know. It may not affect you right now, and like I said, if there's a chance that there's an afterlife, and I do believe there is an afterlife, whether I'll be consciously aware of that afterlife or not, I'm not sure. I may just wake up as a different person somewhere across the universe. But at the same time, I do believe that life will always go on for as loud as it's allowed to go on, until the universe goes back to the singularity of the infinite small dot of energy. And, you know, maybe then we'll know our true nature and what's really going on. But I will say this, folks. I'm excited. I'm really fucking excited. The whole world should be excited that everyone is waking up. that we are seeing the facts for what they are. That the truth is coming out. The corrupt politicians are being fucking called out. Our corrupt government and the secrets that are being held from us, the secrets that are being used against us, the information that's being used to take advantage of us. We are seeing these things. We're becoming aware. You need to do it. You need to spread it in your local area. You don't have to get as deep as me. You just need to know. And knowing is half the battle. You don't have to go preach it to other people. But you can have a logical, civil conversation with your loved ones. And you can really look at yourself and think about life in a different way. And you can apply that with your day-to-day. You still got to go to work. You still got to make money. You still got to live to these fucking slave fucks. But you don't got to do it without knowing. And knowing is half the battle. And if you know, you can prepare yourself. And preparing yourself makes your life a lot easier for yourself. Knowing that you're going to get mad about something. And instead of getting mad when it happens, you're prepared. So prepare yourself physically and mentally. Get dried food. Get water. Get iodine. Protect yourself from radiation. Mace and iodine. Great. It's a great tool to save your life. Get vitamins. Get stored seeds. Things that will save you and your family in emergency situations. Because the government is not going to be there to help you. I promise you. They say they will. And they say that they got all this money to do what the fuck they want with it and go start wars and shit. But they can't help Atlanta get out of a snowstorm. So, you know, I don't trust the government as far as a fucking wet paper bag would hold me on top of water. Most of the government people are good people, and I really do support a good government with good people that does the right thing. But I do not support a government that is abusive, dictatorial, executively writing orders out like it's just fucking candy, destroying our way of America and our ideologies and our free thinking. And we're being suppressed from the true knowledge that's really out there on purpose. The truth is coming out, folks, and there's nothing they're going to be able to do about it. And when the shit hits the fan, you're either going to be clueless and lost in the fucking dark, or you're going to be prepared and ready to take on what's coming. So, I love you guys. This has been another episode of Mental Madness. I hope you like, enjoy. If you got any comments, I'm up to constructive criticism as well. You know, I take things one day at a time. I don't really hold grudges, so if you got something constructive to say, please say it. But I'm really getting to the point where I'm just getting totally excited about this shit, man. It really does. It really pumps me up to learn some of the stuff that's going on. And, you know, if people only knew. If people only knew. That's all I got to say, folks. This has been another episode of Mental Madness. I'm your host, Mad Max. Till next time, we'll see you again. Peace, love, and happiness, brothers and sisters.